Hey, this is Dan here at Studio Blue. This is Pilates All Levels. Only thing you'll need today, if you have a mini ball, grab a mini ball. You could use a pillow or anything like that as well. If you don't have it, no worries. This can all be done without. If you have any injuries, please don't push through any bad kind of pain. And we'll start at kind of a foundational level and we'll build up. Lots of abs today, lots of glutes as always. So we're going to start on hands and knees to start to mobilize the body. If you're on like a thicker mat like we are at the studio, you can always take your hands onto a harder surface kind of off of your mat if you want to offload your wrists. So just keep that in mind. So somewhere on the hands and knees, right, fingers spread, knees under the hips, and just very gently start to round your spine. Chin will drop. And then hold here for a couple of breaths and really start to let your back muscles get a stretch. Let your tailbone curl under slightly, lift your belly, relax your glutes. And then as you inhale, start to open the chest. Keep that sense of the stomach still lifting a little bit as your chest opens, shoulder blades glide down. And hold here for a couple of breaths and really start to focus on the upper back and the middle back, finding some extension or some movement. And again, round the spine, curl the tail. Waistline draws in. Let the back of the glutes relax. Let your shoulder blades widen. And one more time, open up into some extension. And your lower back generally has, right, a natural extension, natural curve. So try to find a little bit more curve in your upper spine and your middle spine. Right? Shoulder blades still gliding down, tummy in. Find the place in the middle. Look to the right, wag your tail to the right. So essentially the right hip is hiking, the left waistline's opening. And then inhale through center and then exhale, wag to the other side. So one hip is hiking, the opposite waistline's opening. Just take a couple at your own time, your own pace. So we're just starting to wake up the body and create some space in between the rib cage and the pelvis. Just breathing wherever you want to breathe. Just make sure you're breathing. Yeah. Last one to the left. And then find your center, keep your waistline in, keep your pelvis neutral, keep your lower back neutral. And you're gonna let your hips sit back a little bit towards your heels. And if you watch me on this, you only wanna go back so far that you don't start to round. So you keep that little bit of an arc to your lower back and then just slowly shift back forward. And that's all it is, right? So it's a gentle rock back. It's gonna feel like your sitting bones are trying to widen. You might feel a pretty deep stretch kind of in the outer hip joint and the back of the glutes. Come back to center. Just two more like this. So just starting to find some glide in the hip joints. Good. Maybe take the hands slightly forward. So now your shoulders are getting a bit involved. So as the hips go back, shoulder blades drop and widen, and again, shift forward. And just one more. And then find your center, feet together, knees open, take a child's pose, just letting the hips sink back as far as it feels comfortable. Arms stretch out, head heavy. And the shoulders can be anywhere they want, right? They don't have to be forced down. They can lift a bit. Take a couple breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just check in with how this feels at the beginning of the hour. And then slowly roll yourself up. If you have a prop, you're gonna lie on your back and place that prop in between your knees. And no prop, no worries. Right? So as you come down, hands together behind the head, pelvis neutral, knees bent, feet flat. As you exhale, imprint your lower spine. And then as you inhale, let your pelvis open to neutral, maintain neutral, nod your chin. Exhale, curl the head and the chest up. Give your prop a little squeeze. And then inhale, slowly let your chest, your shoulders, and your head come back. Again, a little nod to the chin. Exhale, curl. Right? A little squeeze into that prop. And inhale, lower. So just keep going at your own time and your own pace. A little squeeze, curl, ribs are gonna drop downward, belly's in, articulate back down. So as you're going up and down, notice if your pelvis wants to tuck or if your glutes, right, the back of the hips wanna overly engage, and see if you can keep those places pretty relaxed. And at the top of this curl, see if you can lift up off the tips of the shoulder blades, right? Just a little bit. Doesn't have to be super high, but see if you can find that height, keeping the head relaxed. Next time you curl up, stay lifted. Right? Take an inhale. As you exhale, find a really gentle, really small imprint of your lower spine. Good. As you inhale, let your pelvis open to neutral. And then exhale, curl the tail. So it might be kind of hard to see on the video, but there is some movement to the pelvis, some movement to the lower back. And then what are you feeling? Hopefully your lower abs meeting your middle abs and your upper abs. And just let the head be heavy in your hands. Let your elbows still reach a little bit to the sky. If you have a prop, give it a little squeeze every time that you imprint, every time you find some of that length. Now inhale the pelvis back to neutral. Exhale, lower the head and the chest down to the ground. Arms rest by your side. You might have to walk the feet a little bit closer towards your fingers. As you exhale, curl the tailbone and roll the hips to the sky. All right, if you have a prop, just give it a little squeeze as you roll up. Feel the knees stretching forward, heels pulling towards your shoulders. Find the glutes at the top of the bridge. And then as you exhale, roll down slowly. And as you roll down, really picture your back widening onto your mat as you roll down. Good. Let your pelvis open to neutral at the bottom, and then again, curl, roll it up slowly. Yeah. And then roll down slowly. And for Eva, just walk your feet a little forward. Yeah, try about there. You should get a little bit more glute at the top. Yep. And just checking in, if you feel any knee tension at the top of your bridge or hip roll, just check that your feet aren't too close towards you. If you feel any lower back tension, check that your feet aren't too far away from you. And then the next time that you come up, right, just maintain the height in that bridge. So shoulders, hips, knees, kind of one nice long plank line, tummies in. Now keep the knees where they are. Inhale, let your right hip drop maybe a quarter of the way, maybe halfway towards the floor. Lift back up as you exhale, and then inhale, let the left hip drop down a little bit towards the ground. So you feel some rotation, and then exhale, lift back up. Inhale to drop, alternating sides. Exhale to left. And you'll notice, right, it's not just the pelvis rotating, but you're going to get some movement through the spine as well. And then take one more to the left. Center out your hips. Take an inhale. Exhale, roll down. Widen your spine as you roll. At the bottom, open your pelvis to neutral. Nod your chin. Exhale, lift the head, the chest, and the arms up off the ground. Collarbones are open. Right? Take an inhale. Exhale, lower the chest, the shoulders, and the head back down. And again, deep breath in. Exhale, nod. Curl, chest open at the top, arms reaching forward. Inhale, and then as you exhale, lower back down. Now this can all be done with your hands behind your head if you want a little bit more support for your head or your neck, right? Otherwise, arms are forward. And you're going to think of using the reach of your arms to help lift you, right? Just up off the shoulder blades, which can also help take some pressure off the neck. Last one, exhale, curl up. Inhale, stay there. Exhale, slowly sweep your arms around, bringing the hands to the head. You should still feel your abs on there. Take an inhale. Exhale, look to your right, and then take a small twist in that direction. Inhale back to center. Look towards that left knee, and then exhale, take a small twist in that direction. Inhale to center. Exhale the twist. So as you go from side to side, make sure that your hips are still pretty grounded, right? They're not rolling and rocking. And that's where if you have a prop, just giving it a little squeeze will just help maintain, right, the knees, the hips, all that. Yeah, a little bit of lower waistline. And then just start to feel your obliques. So some of those ab muscles that kind of wrap around the ribs from front to back and back to front. Yep. Yeah. This is usually where you'll notice if anything's sore from the weekend. Good. So take one more to your left. Lower down after you finish that side. All right, if you have a prop, take it in your hands. And we're all going to take right leg tabletop. Imprint the lower spine and then bring the left leg up tabletop to meet. So the ribs are heavy, lower back is pretty long. And we're gonna take our prop to the front of our right thigh. Right hand comes onto it. Now, if you don't have a prop, just take your hand on your thigh, right? No worries. And we're just gonna push a little bit into that prop, but I want you to resist with your abs. Left hand behind the head. Keep pressing into that ball. Exhale, curl the head and the chest up. Right, stay lifted. Let the head be heavy. And again, just simply push into that prop a little bit and see if you feel your abs turn on. So you're resisting with the stomach, right? And you probably can't see it on camera, but I'm shaking. I can see some people starting to find the shivers in here, so that's good. So hold there, take another breath. And then slowly lower the chest and the head. Right, take an inhale, breathe wide into the back of the ribs. Exhale, a little push into that prop, curl up. Right, stay lifted. On your next breath out, option, tap your left heel to the ground. Inhale it up. Exhale, tap it down, right? So you're just on that same leg, tapping and lifting. If you want to up level it, you can reach the left leg forward 45 degrees and bending, kind of like single leg stretch. Now the trick on this is, right, as you push into your thigh or your prop, trying to allow the shoulders to soften a little bit and making sure that you don't feel like your back is going into like a back bend, right? So the abs are stabilizing you, not just back muscles. Take about one more like that. Yeah, and then just lower everything down to the ground, right? And then, do we feel our abs? Sweet, yes, awesome. Right, and if you start to feel, right, the wrong muscle starting to turn on, like at maybe number 5 or 6, you can always come down, take a little break, and come back. So again, let's find that small imprint of the spine, legs up tabletop, prop to the front of the left thigh or hand, left hand onto the prop, right hand behind the head. Right, so ease into the hips, exhale, curl up. Right, a little bit of pressure into the ball. And then slowly lower the chest and the head down. And again, belly's already set, little pressure, nod the chin, curl as you exhale. And slowly take it down. You can stay with this one, or next time you lift up, stay lifted. Take an inhale. Exhale, tap right heel towards the floor. Inhale up. Exhale, tap. Yeah, and it can be, right, leg reach. Inhale in. Exhale, reach. Try to breathe into your middle and upper back muscles, right? So really try to expand the back of the ribs onto the mat. Last 2. Yeah, try to maintain that lift to the chest. And after that last one, let everything come down again. Take your prop in between your knees if you have it, and then just kind of rock your hips a little bit from side to side. Refloat the legs back up to tabletop now with your prop in between the knees. Grab the back of the thighs, lift the head and the chest, elbows wide. We're up off our shoulders. And you might have to just wiggle out a little bit. Just make sure your upper back feels pretty relaxed. And then find center, give that prop a little squeeze, right? Take an inhale. Exhale slowly, right? The slower you go, the harder it is on your abs. Slowly take your arms wide, hands to the back of the head, don't lower. Just give that prop a squeeze, let your head relax, take an inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Big inhale. And exhale, squeeze. And again, big inhale. So on the inhale, I really want you to picture and feel the back and middle of your ribs opening and expanding. And then as you squeeze, think of curling up a little bit higher off your shoulder blades, right? Head stays heavy throughout, right? Now this can also be done with the feet on the ground at any point if you want more support. Good, last one, big inhale. Exhale, squeeze, curl, lift, and then hug the knees into the body, lower the head. Nice. Good. Again, you can wiggle the hips a little bit from side to side. Legs come back up tabletop. And the ball is going to go back to the front, right, or prop to the front of the right thigh. Right hand at the prop. Now our left hand is just going to be at our lower ribs and our lower abs. And the head will stay pretty heavy for now. And I'm going to take, so this can be, right, heel taps, or left leg goes towards the sky. And we can keep a little bit of a bend in that leg. And I'm going to keep some pressure on my prop. I'm slowly going to lower my left leg maybe down to 45 degrees. Keep the legs straight and then see if you can lift back up from your stomach and your inner thighs. So I'm lengthening, lowering, trying to maintain a little bit of an imprint. So at some point, the front of my hip has to open, and then deep inner thigh, deep hip and abs to bring me back up. Now we can also take the left hand behind the head, lift the chest, same thing. So left leg starts to lengthen lower. Maybe it touches the floor, and then we lift back up. And I want you to think that every time that you lift back up, give that prop a little squeeze so you really feel like you're initiating from your stomach and deep hip, right? And again, heel taps A-okay, leg reaches A-okay, right? Last two. And really, and only taking that leg, right, so far that you can stabilize. So your body will tell you where you're at today. Last one, and then rest. Nice, switch sides. Everyone feel that one? Sweet, nice. So again, legs can float back up, prop or hand comes to the left thigh, right? Right leg can be tabletop or it goes straight. You lengthen and lower that right leg, and then you lift it. And I want you to imagine, so keep going on this, but imagine if your leg was hollow, and every time your leg lifts, it was filled with sand. So that sand is gonna go from the foot and pour down your thigh into your hip joint. And that's where you wanna think of that lift coming from, right? It's not really coming from your foot, it's coming from the thigh bone sinking a little bit deeper into that joint. So it is deep hip work, deep ab work, all the things, right? Think of pressing into that prop a little bit before you start to lift back up. Now, if your head and chest wanna lift as well, go for it. Head and chest can always come up at any point, right? And if your heel, right, if your foot wants to touch the ground, A-okay, as long as you're working from the right place. Sense of the hip opening on the way down, the hamstrings opening on the way up. Last two. Keep that little bit of pressure in your proper hand. Last one. And then lower everything down to the ground. If you have a prop, take it off to the side. Let your knees and your feet open for a moment. And just circle the thighs towards one another, together towards you. Let the weight of the legs rest into the arms. Let your arms do all the work on this. Reverse those circles. If you've been on the reformer, it's going to feel hopefully similar to like feet and straps. So really surrendering the weight of your legs into the arms. Settle the feet to the floor one at a time. Feet about inner hip distance apart. Curl the tailbone, roll the hips back up to the sky. Feel the knees stretching forward, the feet rooting down. At the top, feel the glutes turning on. Now, if you take your hands to the hips, make sure they're pretty level. Put weight into your left foot, left leg. Right leg can float up, tabletop, and just hold there for a second. Make sure the hip hasn't dropped, it hasn't shifted. You feel some work in the back of the left glutes. Lower that right leg down to the ground. Waistline still in, switch. Right, feel, right, back of the right glutes, hamstrings, everything working together. Lower and switch. Right, lower and switch. So keep alternating side to side. Yeah, and your abs are helping stabilize really your full core, right? Sides, back muscles are helping here as well. Right? You should be feeling those glutes start to warm up. Now, if you wanted more support, you could always take that ball underneath your hips to give your pelvis and your sacrum a little bit more support today. Yeah, and as long as you have weight still on that standing leg, yeah, exactly. You should still feel some work through the back of the glutes. It's just gonna offload the back slightly. End to your last side, so left leg up and down. Keep the hips lifting, keep them high. Take an inhale. And then allow the hips to hinge to lower maybe just a couple inches to the ground. And as you exhale, press through both feet and lift the hips up. Keep the ribs heavy. As you inhale, hinge through the hips. So it's a neutral bridge, lower and lift. And I'm thinking of putting a little bit of weight into my heels as I lift up. Front of the hips get to open at the top. So you can stay with this, or next time that your hips are up, hold. Weight in the left leg, right leg floats tabletop. And then moving from that left hip joint, I'm gonna let my hips come down just a little bit to the ground, right? Pause, without shearing into my lower back, I'm thinking of lifting through the back of my left glutes. And then inhale, I take it down just a little bit, right? Doesn't have to be super low. And then I'm thinking, right, left knee is reaching forward, my hips opening, back of the glutes are on, and lower. Now this can also be done with your right big toe still on the ground, so you get a little bit of support. But you should feel a ton of work into your left glutes. Now, next time you lift, hold on that lift. Set the right foot down if it was up, right? Pause there. And then switch legs. Either opposite leg comes up full tabletop, or maybe you're toe pointed, either one. And then come down just a couple inches. And then really think of lifting through the back of your right glutes, right? And it's gonna be kind of the imagery of your knees stretching forward as you go up. So the hips opening and the back of the glutes get to turn on. Yeah. And you might try a couple with a leg tabletop, and then a foot might come down for a little bit more support. Totally okay. Everybody in the studio feeling this one? Okay. Hello, glutes. Last two. And last one. Meet with your hips up, both feet on the ground, arms reach to the sky. And then as you exhale, start to take your arms overhead as you roll down, upper spine, middle spine, roll through the lower back. Arms are now reaching over your head, ribs are heavy, legs go long. Thighs together, toes pointed. If you need a pad under your back for roll-ups, go ahead and grab it. Lift the arms, head, and chest, right? Once the arms are parallel to your body, pause, and then exhale slowly. Start to roll up, stretch forward. Shoulders are easy, tummy's in. Right, as you exhale, curl the tail, just start to roll it back. Yeah, feel easy in your shoulders as you roll back. Articulate through the spine. Try to keep those feet heavy onto the ground. Arms overhead. And again, inhale, arms, head, chest. Exhale, slowly roll up and through. A little bit of a stretch forward, shoulders over hips. Nice, and then roll it back. Good. So take your time with these, right? So a couple of things that could help if you feel like you're getting stuck on the way up. Having some weights in hand could help. A band around your feet could help. Or like a small rolled up towel or a pad under your lower back could help. Right? So keep going with this. Nice. This could also be half roll back or half roll down, and all that means is just go halfway down, right? When you feel like you get to that point where you can't stabilize, you feel like the legs are gonna lift, that's your stopping point, and then you can roll back up. Yeah. Nice. Good. So let's say one more. Good. Down and up. Nice. The next time you stretch forward, just re-stacks it nice and tall at the top. The knees will bend on this one. You're somewhere kind of in the middle of your mat. Knees are bent, feet are flat. We're lifting tall through the spine, and the knees might open a little bit at first to get some more height through your spine. Shoulders easy. Curl your tailbone, rock back off your sit bone, so your lower back's gonna have a little bit of roundness to it. Yeah, and then you can kind of just walk your feet in towards you a little bit, and you'll get to this place where they feel like they're just starting to float up, and that's where you wanna lift them. So feet together, knees open, push your thighs slightly into your hands, ease into the shoulders, right? Feel deep stomach, and then maybe arms come forward. Little squeeze into the heels, right? Deep hip, deep abs, all the things. Keep breathing, right? Now you can stay here, right? We're just holding, this is fun, or hinging from the hip, the left heel drops towards the floor. There's no change to my pelvis or lower back. I lift back up, and then the right heel taps to the floor. It's that same sense as the leg goes up, the thigh bone sinks a little deeper into the joint. So tapping, lifting, tapping, lifting. So if you're doing the taps, try one more each side. You should feel a good amount of work at the base of the ribs here as well. Last one to the right. Once you finish that right side, grab the back of the thighs, right? Use your arms to offload your legs, your hips, and your stomach for a moment. So stay here, or legs are still turned out. The legs are going to straighten, right? My arms are still helping me quite a bit here. And same thing, trace the thigh line into the hip, shoulders easy. Try to keep the height of the legs and maybe release the arms and just hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, cross the ankles, take the feet to the floor, and then come onto the hands and knees. So you're somewhere at the top edge of the mat. Good, round the spine once. And then open the chest, extend the spine once. So coming into a little bit of extension. Find the place in the middle, and then set your shoulders so you're really pressing down into the ground. Walk the legs back into a full plank, feet and thighs together. And there's a sense of your heart pulling a little bit forward, your tailbone pulling a little bit back, and your limbs rooting down. Inner elbows slightly forward. Now, can this be done in low plank or forearm plank or any option with those two? Yes. So keep breathing. Yep. Feel wide through your upper back and shoulders. Eyes are slightly forward, so neck is neutral. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, one leg at a time down on one. Good, round the spine or take child's pose. Maybe come up to your fingertips if you're rounding the spine, so it's a little bit more of like a Halloween cat. Let the chest open again. Shoulder blades wide, open the chest into a little bit of extension. Yep. And find the place in the middle. Narrow the knees a little bit so they're about hand distance apart. Weight in the right leg. The left leg is going to go up and out. So it's just reaching back and out. Hold. So the leg doesn't have to be super high on this necessarily, not yet, right? But feel your lower waistline drawing in. So we're not overly arched like this into the back. There's a sense of lift through your stomach and a sense of opening through the front of the hip and work through the back of the glute. As you inhale, lower that leg, bend in. Exhale, reach back and out. So we do this one a lot on the forearms. Inhale down and in. So this can be done on the forearms if you want to offload your wrists or if you want to offload your lower back. So coming down here can help stabilize the lower back. And again, it takes weight off of the hands. Take just 2 more like this, bending, reaching. Make sure the hips aren't swaying off to the side. Now, last one, stay lifted. Ease back into the shoulders. Find that strength through the center line of your core. Flex the back foot. Turn the leg out and start to bring that leg out to the side, right about in line with the hip. It's going to come to the floor. Now, I want you to think of lifting up first and then rotate back to center. Turn the leg out, reach out to the side. Avoid the hip hiking too much. It comes down, and then again, there's that sense of lift first, and then you're rotating back to parallel. And again, this can be done hands or forearms. You have the choice today. All right, we work on this one a lot. So finding that rotation in the hip joint, hopefully we're feeling our glutes. And not just the left leg, but the stabilizing leg has to work here as well to keep you from sliding off to the right. Last one. Back through center, lower down. Child's pose or cat stretch. All right, you can always take child's pose with arms behind you. Offload the hands for a moment. Take a deep breath in and out. And then rise back up, hands and knees. Yeah, knees fairly narrow. Shoulder blades set, tummy in. Right leg reaches straight back and up. Hold for a moment. So again, waistline in. Make sure your hips aren't swaying off to the side, but you feel, right, outer hip muscles are on. Bend and lower. And reach back and straighten, lift up. Bend and lower. Right, sense of the hip opening as you lift. Good. And again, forearms, A-okay, right? If it felt better on the last version, go for it. Stay easy in the neck. Strong through your core. Yep. Feel the base of the ribs still having a little bit of lift as you lift up. Next time you lift, pause, flex your foot, turn your leg out, and start to bring that leg out to the side. Maybe it comes in line with the hip. You barely, right, almost touch the floor. Lift up first, rotate back to center, back to parallel. We turn out, reach out, foot almost touches the floor, lift up, and then rotate. Nice. And again, reach, waistline stays long, lift back through center. And again, open, lift back to center. And you'll feel, right, the stabilizing leg has to do quite a bit of work as well as the leg moving. Last one. And back to center. Lower everything down. Maybe feet together, knees open. Again, push back into child's pose. Let the hips and the back muscles get a stretch. Heavy head. This time, walk the arms over to the left. Stretch out through that right arm. Pull back gently through the hip. And then breathe into that side that you feel the stretch. Walk the arms over to the other side. Yeah. And gently pull back through the hip. Ease into the shoulders. Back to center. We'll come up to the top edge of the mat on our forearms this time. So elbows under shoulders. Hands can be together, more support apart. More work in the back of the shoulders and shoulder blades. Now starting, you can take the knees back and come into a low forearm plank. So toes can be tucked, right? My back is long. I'm not overly arched in the spine. My tummy's lifted, right? Pushing down through the forearms, hugging the inner elbows in. Yeah, now if you want to advance it, right? Lift the legs. Keep pressing down into your feet, down into your forearms. Make sure that the back isn't overly arcing. Again, there's that sense of dropping down through the tailbone. Hugging in through the thighs. Yep, and breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Take the knees down. Press up to hands and knees. Come up to the top edge of the mat. Shoulder blades out of the ears. Knees under the hips. You're going to turn your right foot onto the wooden floor or whatever floor you're on at home. Left arm comes to the sky. Left leg goes long. So this will look different, or this will look opposite for those of you at home. So have a sense of the tailbone dropping down a little bit, right? There's some work under the armpit and the shoulder, back of the glutes, and then simply just lower that arm, bend the leg back in, pivot left foot away from your mat, right? Right arm, right leg, lift. So it's a side plank of sorts, right? Make sure your hips aren't too far back like this, but the pelvis is stacked over that bottom knee. Waistline's in, lower down, right? If you want to add on, come into a full plank. Yeah, you can take the feet a little wider than hip distance, and I'm going to start to tip my heels to the right. My left arm lifts, right? So now we're just in a full side plank. Can this be forearm side plank? Totally. Slowly make your way back to center, right? Take a moment in center and then switch sides. And the same cues apply if you're on your hand or your forearm. Feel that shoulder gently rolling out of the ear, lower armpit, down the waist, even into the lower hips. Lower, 1 more each side. Stabilize, lift, hold, right? So the whole body's working on this. Last one, lower. Heels to the other side, lift, breathe, and lower, knees to the floor, and then eventually chest to the floor. So you can come down through a modified push-up if you want. Just make your way down to the belly. Now reach the legs long, one at a time. Have your hands somewhere in front of your shoulders with your elbows wide. And then just start to roll the shoulders a little bit out of the ears, nose about an inch off the ground. Feel the waistline lift and then hover the chest and the shoulders up. Only so far that your elbows, right, they still have contact with the ground. And I want you to feel this sense of your heart pulling forward, shoulder blades dropping back slightly and down, and then lower everything. Let your shoulders relax a bit. And again, as you inhale, start to peel the head and chest up. The shoulder blades will naturally start to roll in and down. Lower waistline still lifted. Back of the glutes on a little bit in the background. And then take it down. So take a couple more like this. So this is just, right, just like a basic upper back extension. The lower back stays really neutral. As you inhale and you pause for that couple breaths, every inhale you take, let that extend your upper spine a little bit more. And every exhale you take, let that connect to your stomach a little bit more, and especially at the base of the ribs as well. Yep. Yeah, and then last one. Up and down. Right. So this next one, as you lift, hold at the top. And if we want to play around with adding on, keep the knees relaxed, pubic bone heavy, waistline in. Exhale, the elbows and the hands can float up. And really, if we're at that right height, really isn't any change to the spine. You're going to feel more work in your back muscles and your stomach. Right, hold here. If you want to add on, exhale, reach your arms straight out to a T. Your palms are facing down. Inhale, bend your arms back into where you started. All right, find that lift through your stomach. Exhale, arms reach. So your stomach and your back muscles, upper and middle back muscles, have to work a little harder. Inhale, bend in. And again, exhale, reach. Maybe turn the palms forward, the thumbs up to the sky. Inhale, bend in, hands neutral. Again, exhale, reach. Maybe palms forward, thumbs up. So you're getting that external rotation in the shoulders. Inhale, bend in. Just one more time. Stay long through your neck. Exhale, find your waistline. Reach. Breathe. Bend in, lower everything down to the ground. Give the hips a little wiggle from side to side. Again, find the place that feels centered. Set your stomach. Hover the chest and the head up. And then as you exhale, maybe float one leg at a time up. So there's a sense of opening through the front of the hip. Glutes are on, waistline's in. If you want to add on, hands can float up off the ground. Stay lifted. On your next breath out, let everything come down. As you inhale, start to set the shoulders, head and chest lift. Once the chest starts to lift, that's your cue. You can lift your limbs. Right? Your stomach's already set, your glutes are set, and then everything lowers. And again, easy in the shoulders, start to peel up. Again, maybe the limbs float up off the ground. Everything down. Yeah. And this can still be one of the versions we did prior, right? So last one, peel up. Maybe the limbs float, stay lifted. So if you want to advance it a little further, legs are lifted, arms and chest are lifted. Exhale, same thing, arms reach out to a T. Palms can turn forward, thumbs can go to the sky, kind of like a hitchhiker thumb. Inhale, bend in. Big exhale. Use that exhale to help stabilize the front of the rib line, the front of the stomach line. Inhale, bend in. Last two, exhale, reach. Inhale, bend. Can the hips open a little bit more? Can we find just a bit more lift through the legs, right? Not from overextending the back, but from allowing the hip to open and working the center line of the glutes. On that last one, let everything come in, lower down, hands under the head. Bend the knees, windshield wiper the feet from side to side. Nice. And your spinal muscles are like any other muscle, right? So they need endurance. And endurance is something that's earned, it's practiced. So those should start to get easier over time, just the more we do it. But so good for keeping us out of our computer and our phones. Bring the legs back to center. Press yourself up to hands and knees. Walk yourself towards the top edge of the mat. And then come down onto the forearms so the elbows are under the shoulders. Hands can be apart or together. Knees about hand distance apart. And then feel forearms pushing down, inner elbows hugging in. Let the head relax down a little bit so the neck's following the upper back line. Keep the lower ribs in, keep the core in. The left leg is going to reach back and up. Maintain your lift, right? So hips open. You're going to feel abs working with back muscles, side of the ribs, and we're going to take a small circle. So the legs stay straight. We're going to come in a little, down a little, out, up, and again, in, down, up. So as this leg is circling, check that the hips and the body really, they're not moving too much. The waistline's in. Glutes for sure working, and this should start to get into the hamstrings as well. Try to keep the back leg as straight as you can. Shoulders are easy out of the ears. All right, next time you're at the top, reverse, out, down, around, and in. Out, down, around, and in. Stay easy in the jaw. Last 3. 2. Last 1. And then bend in. Good. Reset the shoulders, reset your stomach, and then switch legs. Right leg, bring it out and up. Hold. Softly point the foot. Keep the leg straight. And then start to bring that leg into the midline, down, out, around, and up. In slightly, down, out, around, and up. Yep. Keep going with this. Yep. Just feel easy in the shoulders, long through the neck. Good. Last one in this direction. And then we'll reverse. And again, check in. Shoulders, lower ribs. As the leg is circling, the body's staying pretty still. Still breathing. Last 3. 2. Last one, hold at the top. And let that leg come down. Push on back, child's pose. Knees together or apart. And then we're going to rise up to kneeling, facing me. And somewhere at the center line of your mat. Right, so just somewhere, make sure if you reach your arms out, you're not going to hit anything or anyone. All right, so things should be pretty mobile for this one now. So my left leg, those of you at home, or right leg in the studio is going to go out long. Yeah, right. And if you want more stability, you can always turn on your mat. If you want more cushiness, or foot is okay on the wooden floor. All right. So right leg's long. Those of you at home, left leg's long. We're going to lean away from that leg a little bit. So make sure that you're not too far back into your hips, but your pelvis is over your bottom knee. All right. The back of the glutes are on. Right. Bottom hand grabs onto the top of your ribs. Top arm is long. Right. So we play around with this one a lot. Easy in the shoulders. Take a big inhale and big exhale. Right. And as you inhale, feel your ribs open a little bit. And then as you exhale, feel them gently drawing down and closing. So feel that connection to your obliques. And on your next breath out, take your top arm somewhere up, maybe overhead if you want to advance, and then inhale, bring it back down. Right? And again, as you exhale, arm goes up, right? As this arm goes up and maybe overhead, the top of your waist has to work harder to keep you in the same place. Right? Now have a sense of your pubic bone lifting up a little bit and your tailbone dropping down a little. So avoiding the lower back overly arcing. Good. Advancing, both arms can come by your side, both arms lift. Exhaling up. Inhaling down. And avoid going too quick on this, right? So as your arms lift, you might even take that little moment of pause so then you really feel what's having to work. Keep rooting through the bottom legs. Yeah. Everyone feeling this one? Nice. Good. Last one like this. Exhaling up. Inhaling down. Your bottom arm is going to come down to the ground. It can walk away from you a little bit, and then eventually the top leg is going to float up. And just hold there for a moment. And adjust your arm as far away from you as you need to really feel offloaded in the wrist, shoulders easy out of the ears, waistline in. Softly pointing through that top leg. It's still lifted, right? I haven't forgot about it. Front of the hips opening. Can you feel your glutes? Right? Top arm anywhere you want it. And then lower that leg down. Root into your bottom limbs. And then gently lift that leg up. Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling this too. Inhale down. Right? Both sides of the glutes are working. Now adding on, you can take top arm overhead. Find a little bit of a side stretch. Root into the bottom limbs to lift. And again, inhaling down, reach, find that side stretch, right? Waistline, glutes working to lift you. Now this can also be done on your side. You do not have to be on your hand. You do not have to be on your knee. You'd still be going into your leg lifts, right? With an arm reach, if that's what you're working on today. Next time you lift up, pause. Easy in the shoulders, strong in the waist, right? And then take your top leg. It doesn't have to be very big. Reach it backwards, maybe an inch in space. Can you feel the center of your butt? And then take it just a little forward. Again, this doesn't have to be like the classic, big Pilates side kick. Just, can you move this top leg a little bit? And do you feel your glutes? Heck yes. If you did a lot of hiking this weekend, I apologize. You're definitely going to feel this. Last one. Right? Once you finish forward, find center, and then just bend the knees, come into a child's pose. Knees can be open, they can be together, right? Arms can stretch forward or they can stretch back. Yeah, just take a breath or so there, let everything stretch out. So those are very much full body. Rise back up to kneeling. Yeah, opposite leg goes out. So at home, you're right. For me and us here, our left. Or just make sure you're opposite. Lean away from your top leg a bit. And bottom hand to the ribs, right? Somewhere kind of at the base or middle of your rib line. And just hold here for a couple of breaths. So big inhale. Big exhale. On the inhale, feel a little bit of expansion. And then as you exhale, feel that connection. On your next breath out, top arm somewhere up, maybe overhead. Inhale to lower. So keep rooting down into your bottom leg. Keep the waistline in. And there's some versions where we move the ribs on this. Just today, right? You're trying to keep the ribs really still while we move our top arm. Right? So finding that stability. If you're having any kind of cramp in this top outer hip, I didn't say this on the other side, but you can always turn the leg out a little bit. That might ease into that muscle. And over time, these muscles will start to stretch out. They will start to strengthen. And some of those weird cramps should start to go away. Now you can always add both arms, right? So my tummy's preset, exhaling up, inhaling down, right? And one side might be really different than the other. So just kind of keep that in mind. Yep. Easy in the shoulders as the arms lift. Yeah. Good. Last two, whatever version you're working on. Last one. Bless you. The arms come long. Your bottom arm is going to come down. It walks out away from you a little bit. And you want to get to a point where if this arm goes out further enough, you'll start to feel your top leg offload and lift. All right, so again, just a soft point. Hold and breathe into this. Easy in the shoulders, all right, under waistline, glute line working. And you can start by lowering the top leg, root into the bottom limbs, top leg lifts, right? Doesn't matter how high right now. Inhale down, root into the bottom limbs, feel your waistline lift. Yeah, maybe top arm overhead as the leg goes down, find a little bit of a side bend, exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. Yeah, feeling easy in the shoulders. Exhale left. Right? And this can be done on your side, right? You do not have to be on your hand or your knee. You can be lying on your bottom side, still doing your leg lifts with an arm reach. Last one like this. Stay lifted. Top arm anywhere you want it, right? On the hip, on the ribs as a reminder. And then that leg, it's just gonna go a little teeny bit back in space. And then maybe just a little bit forward in space. Right? So definitely side of the hip muscles having to work here. Hip opening as you go back, hamstrings opening a little bit as you come forward. Whatever height you chose with that leg, try to maintain it on the forward and on the back. Good. Last one to the front. Find your center, lower that leg, and just come down again and do a resting pose. Feet together, knees open. Then just walk your arms over to one side so you get a nice side stretch with a glute stretch. Breathe into that side again. Easy in the shoulders. And then arms walk over to the other side. Nice. Yeah, and just breathe into it. Nice, back to center, roll up, make your way up to standing, right, any way you want. And then come somewhere, you can be on your mat if you want less stability, more stability, come away from it. Have a chair or wall nearby if you want some support for balance today. And then just simply take one foot in front of the other. So again, kind of like you're on a balance beam. We've been doing this a lot lately. So find the centers of your feet. So if you shift forward, shift back, you feel both feet pretty evenly rooted. Legs straight but not locked. Posture tall but not rigid. Right? Maybe close your eyes. Right? If you want to challenge your balance, close your eyes. And you're going to start to feel your feet kind of moving a little bit in and out to help balance you. You'll start to feel your lower leg bones rotating a little bit in and out to help balance you. All things that need to happen. Yep, arms can always move out to the side if you need more support. And then open your eyes, take your back leg forward. Again, shift forward and back, find the centers of your feet. Right? Easy in the legs, tall through the spine, easy in the shoulders. And maybe close your eyes. Right? Keep breathing. And even if your eyes are closed, keep kind of imagining you're looking straight out in front of you. So find a focal point, even with closed eyes. And then open your eyes. Come back to feet about inner hip bone distance apart. Hands, right, heel of the hand to your hip bones. Fingers fan back. So there's some more on the side and back of your glutes. Root into one leg and just bend the other. Right? And the leg that's still on the ground, if you touch into that kind of side glute area, back of the glutes, do you feel some tone there? So that was our side leg lifts, right? Same muscles are working. Right? Leg comes down, root into that leg that was just lifted, and then bend the opposite leg. So minimal shift, rotation, keep rooting down. Do you feel your standing leg, right? And there are other muscles working besides the glutes, but this is just where I want you to put a little focus. Again, switch. So whatever leg is lifted, right? Hold there. Reach it back a little bit in space. Keep the abs in. Right? Your standing leg, make sure the knee isn't locked, and just do a teeny little hip hinge. So really similar to what you did on your back in bridges on one leg. So my back is staying long. I'm rooting through that standing leg. I'm using my hips to help lift me back up. So again, it's a small hinge. Right? Try not to flex your lower back, right? Try not to round it. Keep everything neutral. Move through your hip. Do we feel our glutes? Okay. Last one, little hinge, right? Doesn't have to be far. Lift. Switch legs. So opposite leg rooted, opposite leg bent. Leg that's lifted, reach it back a little bit so the glutes are engaged even on that leg that's lifted. Right? Make sure your standing leg isn't locked. Small hinge. root through the standing leg to bring you up. So here's your hip extension that we did on forearms and hands and knees, right? This is just a standing version of it. So hinging, hip flexion, lifting, hip extension. Yeah, last two, keep the waistline gently braced. Easy in the shoulders. Yep. Last one. Good, bring it up. Both feet on the ground, shake out the arms a bit, shake out the legs. And then you can have your feet completely touching if you want more challenge for your balance or mobility, more stretch in your hamstrings, or just go feet hip distance. We'll nod the chin, roll down slowly. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Yeah, just let everything hang heavy. And again, if you are moving around or hiking, biking, walking over the weekend, your legs might be a little tighter than normal on Monday. Right, let everything be heavy. Take a big breath in. Exhale, get a little heavier. Bend the knees a bit more. On your next breath out, roll up. Let everything be heavy on the way up. Allow the head to come up last. And we'll end you there today. Thanks for joining.